background and knowledge, then I try to film those and show them on my television shows so that knowledge can be shared. The history of things. History is sort of the light to our future.
Well, of course, that's the way I look at it, but some people are by history, kind of like they are by, well, a lot of things. They don't think it's important till they need it, and then when they need it, they want it to be right at their fingertips. I've said something, and I might as well pass this on to you. I would not have considered this at all if it hadn't been for Nadine. Nadine's mother, well, Nadine's father too, they're distantly related to my family. But I've said, y'all can see, I'm not up to this. I mean, I like to make a good impression. I've got that much pride, and it's impossible at my age and my condition. I don't think I'll ever let anybody interview me again.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. You're making a mighty good impression on me. I'm so proud of you.
Well, I wanted to be a help, but I told, now I have a family. See, I've had 3 heart attacks.
Yeah.
And so I could take care of my business, I could tell them, but I couldn't ride it for a while and all. So they've got the power of attorney. You may know Bubby and Marie Kemper.
I do.
Well, and they have power of attorney. But yet I still take care of my own business.
Well, certainly.
But the point I'm trying to say is, some days I'm pretty good, some days I'm not. They wanted to operate on me. And I said, now that's what I've got a living will for. I had the first one when I was 99, because I tell not 99, but in 99. And that heart specialist, he could have cut my throat instead of trying to save my life. He was so mad at me because he wasn't going to get to operate on me. And when he came back in, when I was at myself enough, he said, you ought to think this through. I said, now I have told you. That's why I made a living will. I will take your medication, but I am not going to be operated on at 91 years old. And he turned and went his tail out that. And he said, that woman's got a mind of her own.
Well,
And I have got a mind, but what I'm trying to say is,
you want to present yourself properly.
that's right.
Absolutely.
And I wouldn't want to do anything that would be right.
My interest is, first of all, I'm just delighted to meet you. I mean, I think what you've shared with me has brought to life a period of history which, quite frankly, if it wasn't for your generosity in offering me the opportunity to hear it from you, I think in many ways would probably be lost forever. And there are very few people, as you mentioned, that have memories of that period of time, and particularly of teaching in Little Hope School. It doesn't exist anywhere. It exists with you. You're the library of knowledge.
I guess I'm I don't know who went there to teach after me. I wish I could tell you that. But I don't know why I don't know. But if I know what it's left me now, I don't really know who it was. But it didn't last too long. The school didn't last too long after that.
I'd like to go back if we can. Mark, are you finished?
Sure.
I'd like to go back if we can to your parents, your mother and father. What's your recollections of them?
Well, my mother and father were both born in Owen County. My father was born on the home place I was telling you about that I still own.
Is that the house with the 3 gables?
No, that's the Gale house. Mine is the one near the Sparta Road, that's where the silo is.
Yes.
Yes. my father was born in that house. We've owned it since his grandfather deeded it to his father in 1885. Nobody but just the Jones family. I was one of the Jones girls. That was my maiden name. I was an only child. My father was born there, and my mother was born on the Poplar Grove Road, where Harry Brock now owns. That was where she was born.
And your mother and father's names were?
My father's name was R.C. Jones. My mother's name was Gladys Spangler, Spangler.
Mm-hmm.
She liked 14 days of being 16 when they married. Of course, in those days, girls married young. And my daddy went to work down here in the bank, here in New Liberty, when he finished his 8th grade. And of course, he was not quite 20 when they married. I'm an only child. My mother died at 49 in 1940, cancer. My daddy died 7 years after that, 1947, a malignant brain tumor. He died at Mayo's. After my mother and father had married, he went down to Adair County. I always said that's what I held against my mother and father. He went down to Adair County to be the cashier of a bank. And there's where I was born, November 28th, 1908. He later was the cashier of a bank, left Adair County, in Dahlgren, Illinois. That's Dalghren, Illinois. Stayed there for, I think, 2 or 3 years. Then went on to Campbell, Missouri, and was in a bank there. And at that time, while he was there in 1914, his father died. My grandfather, who was living out on the home place. His name was John Jones.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
And so my daddy came back here then to Owen County and bought up the home place and also bought the farm where Bobby Traylor lived. So that's my history. And then when I married this sweetheart of mine, this poor little orphan boy that didn't have anything but love to give me, but he sure did have a lot of love. And we had 66 years in marriage.
Isn't that
He'll
something?
be dead 9 years, the 5th of next month. So that's about it.
And his name was
J.S. Moody.
J.S. Moody,
And he was born in Breathitt County.
down in Breathitt County.
His father was a logger, is what they used to call him. And was injured early in life and died of pneumonia. However, he had brothers and sisters, but he was put in an orphan's home and he never did know much about them. So I don't have any relatives. As I say, I don't have any trouble with them either.
Now, where did you go to school yourself?
I started to school here. When we left Campbell, I had been going to, I don't know whether they called it a kindergarten in those days and times, but I had been going to school. But I was just 6 years old when we came back here. Went to school here in New Liberty, and finished my high school here. Graduated in 1926. And then I went to the girls' finishing school. Open up that Bible. Just open up the top of it, honey, and you see an envelope in there. There's the girls' finishing school. See that picture? Where I went. And then I went to this girls' finishing school. I graduated from high school when I was 17. And that college that I went to, girls' finishing school, was...
May I?
Yeah, sure. was built in 1832. It was a Preston mansion. And then the two corridors were built on the side of it. Did you find it?
Is this at the Martha Washington?
Yeah,
Inn?
yeah, that's it.
Is that right? In
And
Abington, Virginia.
yes. So now you forget your politics, because I have an idea that I know Mr. Kerry is a Republican. That's wonderful, but it's a shame you aren't a Democrat. I am a Southerner. I am a rebel. I'm a states' right. I'm a Democrat and a Baptist. Don't try to change me. Do what you want to do, but just don't try to change me. My mind's made up.
I can appreciate that. I was a Democrat for about 50-some years, and I'm a Baptist. Of course, you know, being Baptist won't stop you from sinning, but it'll stop you from enjoying it.
Well, now I like that quote. I like that very much. That's the story of me. Well, I tell you, I have grown a lot in it. My daddy thought that if you voted the Republican ticket, there was no hope for you. Just no hopes. But I know he was wrong. And if he was, of course, he couldn't be living now. But I can see the other side of it. And let's go back to the Baptists. I don't know what's got into people. You don't know what they are. I think one reason that they don't want to take the responsibility of staying where they stand is they don't want any commitment. Do you know anybody that you can depend on today?
Well, there's a few, but sometimes they're far and few between.
Well, and sometimes those you think you are.
Yeah,
It's disgusting, isn't it?
comes back to this book right here, the Living Bible.
Yes.
That's where it all is. That's where it began, and that's where it ends.
Well, that's my turn. Our church up here is over 200 years old.
Mm-hmm.
It's 203 years old now. And we have folks that move into the community and they say, well, I'm going around seeing what church. I look at them and I think, well, they don't know what a church is. They don't know what the Bible says a church is. And they're so far from it. And that's one of the greatest sins that we're living through today, is when churches will not call people to their pulpits unless they are a graduate of the seminary. Well, now that seminary may be just a factory, just putting out products, if you know what I mean. Most of the great evangelists that I've known in my lifetime, and I've run through 30 pastors in my lifetime, but the most consecrated and sincere, they weren't interested in getting a PhD. They were interested in being compassionate, understanding, and teaching the way of life. They don't know what I'm talking about.
Spirit-filled. They were spirit-filled.
That's right.
Absolutely.
So, but it's awfully hard. Now, I'll tell you, how old are you?
50 years old.
How old are you?
60.
Well, both of you are,
We're whippersnappers.
both of you are children.
Right.
I don't think I would want to go back and live my life over. I would love to have my companion back. As I say, we didn't have it. We had each other, and we traveled a great deal. We went everywhere except to Hawaii. And my husband, he died of cancer, but he had a terrible inner ear condition, and he couldn't fly. Mm-hmm. I've never flown. either. But anyway, but we had been in every state in the union. We went to Alaska twice, traveling and all and everything. I'd love to go back, but I want him back, which of course is impossible. But it's awfully hard to live, for me to live in this culture. I don't have any patience with a lot of this stuff.
You've seen a lot of changes in culture, haven't you?
Oh, man, have I seen changes. Have I seen changes.
If you were giving some advice to young people from your years of wisdom, what advice would you give them?
Well, I think the greatest lesson that I have learned is to be receptive, to learn how to communicate, and to realize that if God could create us, then He should be our master and our greatest advocate and our friend. Now, I don't mind to tell you, and I'm not, of course, if people are sincere a lot of times, they're labeled as being fanatics. I don't like to use that word, but what I'm trying to say is, I don't know how anybody lives without Christ. And when you get 95, and you know that you have angina, and you've had 3 heart attacks, and of course when you get 95, you've also got arthritis, and then the stomach acts up, and then the colon acts up, and then your head hurts, and nobody cares about that. Nobody, not even you two telling this, you're bored with this, but the Lord knows it.
Lord knows it.
And I can talk to Him, and it's the greatest medicine that I take.
Can I do something for you?
Yes, sir.
Sing you a little song?
Yes, sir.
You are so beautiful to me. You are so beautiful to me. Can't you see? You're everything I hope for. You're everything I need. You are so beautiful to us. You know, it's such a pleasure doing an interview with you.
Well, thank you so much. I take it you're musical.
Well, I'm somewhat.
He does. Oh, let me get that for you. I told you I'd put
No,
that
no,
back.
that's all right. I just don't have the confidence that I had before. I play a little bit every day.
Oh, wonderful. Beautiful.
That's not too bad.
That
to be 95 and have arthritis.
Isn't
Oh, my
that
goodness,
beautiful?
that's wonderful.
That is such a thrill.
What a treat.
I had to get a little on.
Beautiful. No more, my ladies, all weep no more today. We will sing one song for my old Kentucky home, for my old Kentucky home, far away.
We lost Johnny Cash.
Yes, we did.
Well,
That is beautiful.
I used to could really tear one up. If there's one, if it is a sin, which I don't think it is, I was born dancing. My mother was one of the most beautiful things on the dance floor that I ever saw. And I always said, the churches, you know, they've got restaurants in them, and they've got exercise rooms in them, and they've got daycares in them, and but now I said, whenever they have a dance, I'm going to join that church. But I haven't found one yet that's done that publicly. But anyway, I try every day to play some.
Isn't that
Because,
wonderful?
you know, you get out of a habit. And of course I do have some arthritis. But music has been a part of my life always. I don't remember. Well, I do remember too. My daddy taught me how to play Home Sweet Home with one finger when I was 4.
Is that right?
And so I've been playing ever since.
Well, now living right down the road from you here is my sister, Mary Ruth, the Robinson Family Singers. I don't know if you've seen their buses or heard of them or not, but I come from a family of singers. All of us are singers and
Are you
entertainers.
talking about the Robinson family that I read about in the
Yes.
News Herald?
Yes, uh-huh.
That's the Newsless Herald.
Is that right? Okay.
That's-
That's my sister
Oh, sure.
and, and my brother-in-law, yes, and their family.
Well, I've been reading. I'm so sorry. Of course, I don't go anywhere anymore. This is also false pride. If I can't take care of myself in whatever situation I am, I'm better off at home. People say, oh, well, we'll take care of. Now, I have a black woman. She came to live on one of our farms when she was 8 months old. Her parents came to live. She takes care, she calls it keeping house. Of course, she don't keep house like I do. But, you know, she does the work. She's also, it's Berta Gale, you know Berta.
Oh, sure.
Well, her father lived with us 38 years. She's been up here this morning. I told her to come and be with me. She said she didn't want to. She was going to do something else. I don't know what she's going to do. But you know, black people, they don't, even if they can do something just exactly like you want them to do it, they'll do it differently so you'll know they've done it. They won't put the rug back where it goes. Purpose. Oh, I know 'em. I've lived with them all my life. But anyway, as I've said so much at the time, she manages a senior citizen, and she wants me to go on all these trips they take. Well, now, if I've got to carry this along or be in a wheelchair, forgive me, I'll stay home. I like people, but I have got a ruling, and this ruling goes for you all too. Come after breakfast, bring your lunch, and leave before supper.
Oh, it's wonderful.
I like that. I do like
And
that.
I like people. I'm just thrilled to death to meet both of you. I saw you one time before, when you were electioneering. You brought me a card. That's the only other time. But I don't want you here all the time. That's like this Berta Gill that stays with me. She did stay with me both night and every night after my second heart attack. Finally one day I said, I want you to go home. I'm tired of looking at you. You're tired of looking at me. And that's the way we operate. She does my laundry, and she comes and takes my garbage out and everything. But I don't want anybody. And now they're after me now not to try to stay here this winter. They want me to, they think I ought to get in a retirement home. Well, I don't, the retirement homes I see are not furnished like my home. I really like my furnishings.
Well, as you
Wow.
said, many of these pieces are family pieces.
They're,
Each and every one of them carries a memory.
and not only that, they say, you need extras. Well, listen, I can walk through this house and get more exercise. And I stayed for 8 weeks after one of my heart attacks in Owen Hospital. They were nice to me. But people run me crazy, open the door. Do you need anything? Do you want some? Well, if I need it, it was 45 minutes ago. So I don't need them now. But I just, and I just don't, I hope I can stay here till the Lord carries me out.
Well, we hope you can too, and it's been a pleasure for us to be here with you today. I know that you might wonder whether we're telling you the truth about that or
Well,
not. but-
I couldn't understand how I could be any help to you. I didn't really know. I thought you were writing a book. Somebody told
Well,
me.
I am doing that also.
Oh, are you?
Yes, I'm writing a Kentucky history novel.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I should have written a book, but I was too lazy. Every time I think I'm going to start, I have written up the history of this town. Now, this is the oldest town in Owen County.
Well, can you tell me a little bit about the town here?
Well, sure, I can tell you about it. And of course, and the church, of course, is the mother of 11 churches in this county, which is organized from this church. The church, the community was settled by the Virginia population and Maryland. The Dutch came from Maryland, and they came here and organized this church in 1801. And the farm out here, below where the Kempers lived,
Yes.
there was a family that lived, his name was Thomas Brown, and 13 members of the Baptist faith met there with 2 black people, Uncle Harvey and Aunt Becky, and they organized this church, and it was first called, you'll see that there is a historical, did you notice that, Mr. Carey?
Mhm, I've seen that, yes,
Over there. They organized this church in 1801 in their home, and it was called the Church of the Twins because of the 2 creeks. See, this is Eagle, this is Twin Creek that goes down here. This was the main drive when this was the Alba. And then they came up here at the end of this street as you go down here and built the first church, which was a log church, in 1810. And they used that as a church until